Hello, WellBetic community. It's Dr. Marisol with WellBetic's Wellness Suites. Joining us today in Florida, the Sunshine State, is Devora, who was diagnosed with diabetes in kind of a surprising way a couple of years ago. Devora, thank you for joining us. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Please let the WellBetic family and community know how this all came about, because your story is sort of very interesting in that you had no clue until you got some form of a phone call or a letter. I don't remember exactly what we discussed, but I know that it had some kind of correspondence that you totally were surprised by. So share your story with the community.
Thank you, Dr. Marisol. My story was a very surprising one. I had some back issues and I was facing surgery. And one of the parts of pre-surgery is to have a physical done. And part of the physical was having blood work done. And I had always gone every year to get my physical, and I really hadn't been notified of any issues. But pre-physical, I did get a call saying that my A1C, my hemoglobin A1C, was really elevated. It was so elevated before the surgery that it was actually a 6.5, which actually I was later to learn that put me into the diabetic category.
Yes.
So it for having no idea, and not even going through the pre-diabetes type of process first. That was quite the surprise.
Sure.
And thank God I was able to go through the surgery because it alleviated my my issues. But it opened up a whole new, not a world for me, but it was something that it changed my life.
Sure.
That
Absolutely.
to be diagnosed with something. And it was quite the experience, even in the hospital. They were taking blood samples all the time and checking my A1C and telling me, oh, you're very high, you're very low.
Sure.
And it was actually kind of frightening in some ways, because
Absolutely.
they were saying, well, if your A1C gets so high, we're going to have to give you insulin. And here I am just getting after surgery, and they're saying, oh, we might have to give you insulin without consulting my doctor or whatnot. So after the surgery, I was very, very diligent on doing a lot of research and looking into what to do and how to bring these numbers down, and how to change my lifestyle. And it was a good thing that I actually had a fairly good lifestyle, at least exercising wise,
to be in that.
and to be able to bring the numbers down. One of the things that I did then begin to work on was my weight, and trying to lower the my BMI to help with that. But I was actually very lucky in a way that when I retested, that the number had gone down due to positive changes that I had made in my life. Okay. I think a couple of the key things was and I'm lucky that I always loved vegetables and fruit, and
Sure.
eating lean meat and whatnot. But some of the things that you were very helpful with too was how to eat the foods that you love, what order to eat the foods in, to continue to enjoy life, not to treat it as a diet, but treat it as almost an adventure of eating new things, discovering new ways of preparing food. But I think the most important thing that you shared with me was, when you're eating your meal, create your plate and eat this first and that. So you're still enjoying all of the good food.
Absolutely.
But you're eating it in, I don't say a scientific way, but in a more body friendly way. And there are other things that I did that, because I think maybe food to me growing up in my family became sort of a way of coping with issues. So I also worked on the mental aspect of how I view food and how food fits into my life. So I actually sought counseling for my eating habits, or habits that I had developed that were not the healthiest. That, looking at food in a different way, and coping with life, as opposed to reaching for a cookie or reaching for something. So that also had a very profound part in my journey.
I love that. I love that because that psychosocial aspect, that mindfulness, that being present when we eat, thinking about what's in front of us versus what we did yesterday or what we're going to do today or how that's going to impact our blood sugar over the next couple of hours. Just focusing on enjoying what you eat, slowing down how you eat, eating your veggies first, eating your protein second, and then eating your carbs at the end. It makes a huge difference, and you can see it and you feel it, which is really the most important part. I love that. I love that.
And to
Very
view
proud.
thank you, and to view it as it's your life journey.
Absolutely.
It's your life
Absolutely.
journey, and there are many ways that I enjoy food now. Instead of using it as not a weapon, not as a weapon or as something that is bad for me,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm also able to cope with life in a much better way and
Mm-hmm.
have better relationships with my husband, with my family and
Because when
friends.
we feel better, we're happier. And so we connect at a different level with all the people that love us.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Would you say your biggest challenge is what part in your journey living with diabetes?
Well, living with diabetes is, I think it's really making sure that you make good choices,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that portion control
Mm-hmm.
is very important. But I think reaching for the right choice and feeling good about it, not feeling deprived. That's very hard, and
Absolutely.
everybody copes with that. Like everybody around you is having this or having that, and there are times, yes,
Mm-hmm.
that I do fit that into my lifestyle. If we're going to an event for my daughter, for someone, and there's ice cream cake or whatever, I will have it. But I'm learning how to have just that piece or just that item and fit that in, which is something that I always struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with, if I don't get more of it, then it's maybe I'm never going to have it again. I'll never be able to have it again.
Sure.
but
Sure.
um but I think, and I've learned how to make good choices, as far as also when we get invited to a place, I bring the
Love
salad,
that.
I bring the cut up, the fruit that is, low in sugar fruit, and
Mm-hmm.
I bring something that I know that if there are items that I can't, that really are not good for me, or not, I choose
Not
not
the
to eat
best
that day,
choices.
I don't want to make that
Yes.
choice today. I can
Sure.
bring food that I can take a salad, and that becomes the basis of my meal.
Mm-hmm.
So, having the other items is good,
Mm-hmm.
but the bulk of my
Absolutely.
meal
Absolutely.
is that is that good salad and roughage, whatever.
I love it. I love it. And if you're having a salad before a meal, you're less likely to have some of the other choices that are available when you are at a dinner party, when you are at a cookout. Those things are very, very important. And it's really up to us to make those choices and make those decisions for one another. So, what tools do you think were the most beneficial to you during your journey
I
so
think
far?
I think my journey, the best one is communication.
Mm-hmm.
I think sharing my
Absolutely.
journey with my family, with my friends, I created a support network that really
So
helps.
necessary.
And I think more importantly now, when we do go out, because my friends, our friends know that we're on this path and on this journey. When they do barbecue, there's always a piece of grilled chicken for me, as opposed to a hamburger or sausages or whatnot. There's something that really fits into our lifestyle, and they
Mm-hmm.
just do it just to support us. So it's having good friends, good family connections, and sharing the story, because you're not always going to be successful. So those are the people that'll be there for you,
And I love that.
thick or
I
thin.
love that. Having your cheerleader, having your organizer, having your support, having someone who is going to be your rock and someone who is going to be, right there with you, encouraging you by presenting you with options that are healthier for you or better choices for you and that make you
Exactly.
feel good afterwards.
Exactly. And my husband is my rock in communication and really sharing, and being able to say, if I'm having a good day or a bad day, or really, there are no bad days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just turning it around and saying, I'm dealing with this issue. And I think that's part of, as you said, the psychosocial, when there's things that
Mm-hmm.
in your life that are
Absolutely.
beyond your control, just being able to talk to him and be able to share it, It makes
Absolutely.
such a difference, and it keeps you really from reaching for that piece of food, because that piece of food is not going to be,
Mhm.
it's not going to solve your issue. It's emboldened me to be, to be very courageous in dealing with life, as opposed to, hiding behind um, something that will not, it will not love me back, right?
And we know that you're very courageous. Since you brought up your husband, let's talk a little bit about what it's like to not only have your own journey with having diabetes that was
Mhm.
unexpectedly diagnosed, but also having to work with him in his journey with prediabetes.
Yes, my husband was recently diagnosed with pre-diabetes. So his journey is almost similar to mine, in that we both needed to look at what our food plans are. We needed to look at our exercise. We needed to really look at different lifestyle
Mhm.
choices. And together we attend all our sessions together. So whether it's going to be with a nutritionist or with a doctor, I make sure that I'm always there. So two of us hear the message, or two of us are asking questions.
Mhm.
As he's always saying, I'm always prepared with, different questions on what to ask, because unfortunately sometimes you get limited time with your medical provider.
Mhm.
So it's good to be prepared for that. I think that he has relied on me to help with meal prep. We also go and look at, we look at the labels on food, and that's been, our nutritionist has been very good at giving us an idea, and Dr. Marisol, you too, with, looking at the labels and seeing, how does the amount of fiber balance with the amount of carbohydrates? Can we have
Absolutely.
this? Can we incorporate this? And basically, what we've happily found out is we can pretty much incorporate most everything that
You love.
we love. We can do it, and it doesn't mean giving up things. It just means balancing it out. I think we've also, increased our activity by getting involved with activities that we enjoy together. So my husband and I have we bicycle a lot more now than we ever used to. And these are all things that you don't really need a
Mhm.
large investment in, or you need to learn, or whatever. It's really something that you can just get out there on the road, and either we bicycle, we walk.
Sure.
We've
Sure.
learned to, well, I'm learning how to golf. So he's
Awesome.
very good.
Anything that will get us moving is super
Exactly.
important.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And education is key. Education about what diabetes is, what prediabetes is, how do we live with it, education on nutrition, of course, how do we eat, what do we eat, and movement, hydration, all of those things just come together nicely. Wonderful. Any suggestions for our audience? Any tips that you think would be important to anyone that might be moving in this direction, that might have been told that they have prediabetes, or who has suddenly been told they have diabetes? Any tips or suggestions that you think would be important to them?
I think sometimes it's very hard for us to admit that we need um, support or help. I think it's very important for us, for women and for men, to really reach out to folks like WellBetic and your
Thank you.
nutritionist and your whole community, because you'll find that the more open you are, the more you're going to get back. And it is it's very overwhelming. But I would really counsel other women and men that you are not alone, that
Absolutely.
people have tread this path and they've tread it successfully. So just be open to change. And then those times that you're maybe feeling down, and we all do at times, that you're overwhelmed by life, you're overwhelmed by your numbers, you're overwhelmed by weight, whatever, that you are not alone, and that you can reach out, and someone will be there for you. And just, you know, make sure that you communicate to those people that you trust and that love you, that there were times that you will need them in that kind of way, and you'll be surprised, they'll be there for you.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm so glad that you shared this with our audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you, and we appreciate the suggestions. So, Devora, and all of you out there, I invite you to go to wellbetic.com/coming soon and join our family, join our community, and start supporting each other. WellBetic for a happier, healthier you. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook.